Hello everybody, a warm welcome to one and all. I'm Abhilash Chandra from the Department of Business Studies in Vidhyaashram PU College, the Temple of Excellence. Today I have brought a new chapter, that is the third chapter, business environment. Business, buying and selling of goods and services is not just business, guys. Business, you will learn more about it, that is the profitability. It is all about more kind of a production where a seller and a buyer meets. That is what the business is, and today I'll teach you about what exactly this environment is. Environment is of two, that is micro environment and macro environment. Today I'll start the session with a beautiful example which you people already know of the company which I'll be explaining. The company are, yes, your own cola bottles, right? It is like Coca-Cola too, right? All those kind of a thing. We will have masti and we will have a huge blast in this session. What exactly happened? We'll know the history and the mystery of Coke and Pepsi. A brief introduction. Coca-Cola was started in the year 1892. When was it started? 1892. And Pepsi was started in the year 1898. So please remember these things. 1892, very old company. 1898, younger than Coca-Cola. But the mystery is they came in a different phase in India. Which is the day? That is in 1950, Coke came to India. Okay, when did it come? 1950, Coke came to India, that is after our independence. Here what has happened is 1977 they came to India. They came to India, here, India. Here what happened? 1950 they came to India. Chalo. So you got it. What exactly has happened? Here for the Pepsi, what happened? It did not come all alone. They had a joint venture with two of the Indian multinational company, and that is how they started. And in the year 1990, please remember this, they had a tie-up with Leher. You all know this Leher sodas and all. That is what. That's why it's called Pepsi Leher, Leher Pepsi. Now, the history we got to know. Now let's talk about the mystery. The mystery behind what really happened in the year 2006. In the year 2006, what exactly happened to these people? Now, there is this person and an organization which had a petition. They gave a petition. Petition means they filed a case on these cola companies. What was the petition? Their petition was, they got to know that Pepsi and Coke are actually giving and adding more than 50 times of the pesticides which they have taken the license from the government. That means whatever, see, pesticide itself is bad, but the government of India has given a right that yes, you can use pesticides, and that is a cut-off pesticides where you are not supposed to increase more. But still, Pepsi and Cola, they are putting more pesticides, and that result to this petition. And when we got to know that the petition is filed, the petition was filed by CSE. What is it? CSE, Center for Science and Environment. Center for Science and Environment. They put a petition saying that pesticides are found 50 times more than the real standard prescribed by the government. Then what happened? This is the real beauty of environment. That means micro and the macro. Now micro is all about the Pepsi and the Cola company. But what happened to the macro? The minute the market heard about it, there was a drastic change in the sales of Pepsi and Coke. The Pepsi and Coke, the graph which was going high, now it became less, decline, and completely shut for particular days. Now what happened? This is what the beauty of environment is. Even if you get a negative information, the market will go mumbo jumbo. That is what the market goes. Now the sales of Coke and Pepsi, which was exactly like, I'll just show it to you. The sales was like this. The minute SCE put a petition in the Supreme Court, the sales drastically came down. So this is what the sales actually went. So here it is the higher one. Now after 2006, the sales came down. Now why this happened, I'll teach you in the entire chapter. You will understand. Now we'll go with our topic. The first topic of the day is meaning. Let's know the meaning of business environment. Business environment means it is all about the everything which is dependent as well as independent in the business. Now we'll go with this. The first meaning, it's a 1 mark as well as a 2 mark question. They're going to ask you what is business environment, that is for 1 mark, and define business environment. You are supposed to write it for 2 marks. The first thing is, please understand, I'll mark all the keywords. The term business environment, means the sum total. What is it? It is a sum total. Sum total is a second keyword, right? Sum total of all who all will come. Let's see, individual, who will come? Individual, institution, and other forces. What is it? Other forces that are outside. It is not inside, it is what? Outside. Outside the control. That means macroeconomy. They are talking about what? Macroeconomy, because macroeconomy is something which you cannot control. Micro means one, individual, one kind of a thing, but macro means what? It is leaving the individual. Everything is the macroeconomy. Now I'll just repeat. The term business environment means the sum total of all individual, institutions, and other forces that are outside the control of a business enterprise, but that may affect its performance. This is called business environment. So please understand this. It is a sum total of individual, it is a sum total of institution, it is a sum total of other effects which will definitely affect the business. This is called business environment. Let's go with the simplest kind of a other way around what exactly business environment is. Here business environment means somebody has written, okay, just take the universe. You need to take what? The entire universe. Then you need to do something called subtract. Subtract from it. What you are supposed to subtract? Subtract from its subset, right? Now you are getting it. You need to take the entire universe. Now you need to subtract its subset. You all know what a subset is. That represent the organization where you are working, and the remainder, what is it? Remainder is the environment. Whatever is the leftover, that is called environment. This entire process is business environment. Let me give you in a nutshell what is business environment. Everything where a business is dependent or independent, this entire environment is called business environment. Moving on, the next topic is features of business environment. Features of business environment, that means what exactly business environment consists of. Here you can see all these other points which the business environment consists of. Let's go with the first one. The first one is totality of external force. That means it is all depend upon the external force. Please understand here external force. You have micro as well as macro. Please remember this. You have micro as well as macro. Within the company, whatever happens, it is called micro. Outside the company, whatever happens, that is called macro. This is what? Outside. The outside is all called macro. Here, Coke and Pepsi. Understand? Coke and Pepsi. Coke used to manufacture and the sales used to go high. Pepsi used to manufacture differently and the sales used to go high. But something happened in the year 2006 in India. You remember what exactly happened? The thing is, somebody, external force, somebody actually gave a petition, that is they filed a case on Coke and Pepsi, and then what happened? The sales reduced, the sales came very low, and that is why, because of external force. That is the beauty of business environment. Somebody is doing something to you, definitely it will result on your productivity, profit, growth and sustainability. That is why it is totally of external force. The second one is specific and general force. What is it? Specific and general force. Specific means what? What is exactly the specific means? Specific means something which already we know that is what we have. Example, we have the investors, we have our customers, we have the creditors, we have everybody. They are the specific force. And one more is general. General in the sense who all will come. That is the public at the large. What is it? Public at the large. The government. All these people are the general forces. So in business environment you have two. One is specific. You know these people will be there in your business. And the next one is general. That is generally these people should be there. The government should be there. The next thing is it is interrelated. What is it? Interrelated, both the ways. The business is for the customer as well as the customer is for the business. Interrelated. I'll give you this interrelated. If you are diet freak, right? If you go with more of gymming, so how the business is interrelated? The way you used to eat more food before gymming and the way you eat food after gymming, totally different, because it is all interrelated. The minute you want to actually make six-pack, what do? You want to drink Coke or Pepsi, but you will not go with the regular Coke and regular Pepsi, you will go with Diet Coke. That is what you will do. That is interrelated. The minute you are changing, the business also changes. Now the minute you are in the, let me tell you one more example. If you are in the 4th standard, the way you think about the business is totally different from the way you think when you are in the 2nd PU or in the degree. Why? Because you get to know more about it. That is what the business environment is. The more deeper you think about business, the more you go with it, you will understand business is for everybody. Now you are using Johnson & Johnson baby soap, right? But do you use it now? Definitely no. The business environment will get to know how many people uses Johnson and that is how they'll manufacture, and how many uses Lux or something, that is how they manufacture, because it is interrelated. The minute you change, the business also changes. The next thing is the 4th one, dynamic nature. What is it? Dynamic nature. Dynamic means it changes according to situation. People, you need to understand, even you should change according to situation. You cannot be the same what you were in the previous year. You should always change, because that is called progression. Here business environment has a special feature called dynamic nature. That means it changes when you change, right? The next thing is the 5th one, uncertainty. What is it? Uncertainty. 21st century, uncertainty is certain. That means something bad gonna happen, it will happen. You cannot predict. If you would have predicted, we would have been the god, right? Now example I'll give you, this uncertainty in the business environment. Nobody knew that in 2019 that 2020 will be like this, because business environment you cannot predict, because it is always uncertain. It is a star mark for you. Please remember this. Everywhere uncertainty is there, but how you are supposed to cope up? You can't say, I can't predict, so I can't do it. You cannot go with it. You should always reduce uncertainty. That means you should always get prepared yourself. Business environment will give you all the chance to prepare yourself for the uncertainty. The next thing is complexity. Business environment is too very complex. Let us take us the same example of Coke and Pepsi. Coke was introduced in the year 1892 and Pepsi was introduced in the year 1898. Now when Coke was introduced, it was the first cola kind of a company which became very, very famous. But the complexity, just see the complexity. The minute somebody is making profit, what will happen? There will be one more businessman who will feel that I need to enter the same field, and then he'll also start. See, that's the reason. You go with it. Coke and Pepsi, you have something like this. If somebody is introducing Fanta, The other company will actually introduce Mirinda. Somebody is introducing 7-Up, somebody will introduce Sprite. That means business environment is complex. The next thing is the 7th one, relativity. What is it? Relativity. Here relativity in the sense they'll go with what exactly happens. Please understand, the way business happen in USA is not the same thing which happens in India because of relativity. The relativity is totally different. Go with our Albert Einstein relativity. What is that Albert Einstein theory of relativity? If you sit with a beautiful girl for an hour, you feel that it is just a second. But if you sit on a hot stove for 1 second, it means that you are actually sitting in 1 hour. That is what the theory of relativity is, because everywhere the situation changes. What is it? The situation changes. This is called relativity. It is how the business which happen in US is totally different from the business which happens in India. Let's go with one of the example. The sales of sari in India is totally what? Huge craze, right? But if you go and sell the saris in France or Italy, now what will happen? Because this is all about relativity. Business environment will show you the real relativity, which is what? Exact. You will get the real picture. What you will get? The real picture. Now, these are the features of business environment. Please understand. First is external force. It is totally what? External force. Next, specific. That means they are the people. Generally, there are many people who will go with it. Interrelated. Business is interrelated. Next is dynamic nature. Dynamic nature means what? It is always what? Change according to the customer. What the customer wants, the business changes. The next thing is uncertainty. You cannot predict. You can never predict what exactly the business environment goes through. But you need to reduce uncertainty. That means you should be prepared for every kind of uncertainty. That means you need to plan more. Here, complexity. Too many things are there. Too many things will lead to what? Too many scrutiny. That is how business environment runs. The next thing is relativity. What happens in India is totally different from what happens in US. Business environment gives you a real picture where your product will go for a toss and where your product will go for a bounce. Next thing is importance of business environment. We got to know the features. Now let's go with importance. Why business environment is important. In the future, if you understand, all these points are very, very easily understood. The first one is it enables the firm. What is it? It enables the firm to identify. What is it? It enables the firm to identify. What is that? It will identify the opportunity. What is that? They'll identify the opportunity. Opportunity and getting the first mover advantage. Please understand this. Coke and Pepsi. Go with the same example. Coca-Cola, when they started, they got to know there is a formula which can actually be a revolution and it can open the market for cola companies. And that is how they went through it. Why? Business environment. They got to know there are other colas, but it is not so good, but our cola is beautiful and it will actually strike the market and we get the first movers. They were the first movers of the colas. That is how business environment will give them the advantage. The next thing is it helps the firm to identify. What is that? They will identify threat. What is that? They identify threat. The minute 1892 Coke was introduced, somebody was already there making a formula in their company, that is the Pepsi, in 1898. When? 1898. Let me just write it for you. Coke 1892. Pepsi 1898. Now the first point, that is what is first mover advantage. Coke got the first mover advantage through business environment. Now here, who is a threat for Coke now? Pepsi, because they are coming. That is what the beauty of business environment is. The third one, it helps in tapping. It helps in tapping useful resources. It helps in tapping useful resources. What exactly these two cola companies did in India? They came to India because there were resources. What are the resources? The water is a resource, and where they got it in the entire world, and they tapped the useful resources. Whatever they wanted, the pesticides or the sugar or what not, they have actually tapped in all the entire countries. The next thing is, it helps in coping with rapid changes. What is this rapid change? Please understand, rapid change means the customer changed their taste, so the company did. If you go with Kurkure, if you go with Lays, you go with so many things, you have what? You have too many flavors. The reason is human is heterogeneous. When human is heterogeneous, his tastes also are what? Heterogeneous. That's why you have yellow pack, red pack, white pack, black pack, what not packs, because the customers want it, the business gives it to the customer. The next thing is, it helps in assisting. What does that do? It helps in assisting. Assisting what? Planning. I told you, right? They need to go with planning. Complexity is there. That's why they need to do planning. And what the next is? Policy. Policy formulation. But do you think Pepsi and Coke, they did the policy formulation? Yes, they have done it, because business environment teaches them that they need to go with policy formulation. You should know this, students. In the year 2006, when the petition was filed, that petition was actually discarded, and it was said that there is a clear check for Pepsi and Coke that they can proceed, as there is no void of any of the law. But again, CSE, they went to the Supreme Court, putting a file that there are 11 products of Pepsi and Coke which uses more pesticides, that is more than 50 times to 24 times, and that should be banned. But again, our health minister, who was then our health minister, he said there is nothing called a true fact which was given by CSE, and the case was discarded. That is how it happened. It all happened because it gives assisting. What is that assisting? Planning and policy formulation. You can also go with one more example of Nestle, where Maggi was there and it led to something, but again that was discarded, and now we have the Maggi and everybody eats that. The next thing is, it helps in improving performance. What is it? It helps in improving performance. How? Regular Coke was there, regular Pepsi was there. Now because people wanted something called diet, they have something called Diet Coke and the diet kind of other beverages. That is how it is. Business environment will teach the company also what is that they should do and what is that they shouldn't do it. These are the importance of business environment. Please understand the importance. The first important, what it does, it gives the clarification that you are the first one and you can take the advantage. The second thing is, there is something called threat. Please understand this. SWOT. What is it? SWOT. SWOT. Business environment always aim at SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis. SWOT. Strength. You should know the strength of your company. Weakness, you should know your weakness first so that you can improvise it. Opportunity, what all I can go, where all I can go, where all I can tap for the resources. That is the opportunity. And the last one is threat. For Coke, Pepsi is a threat. For Pepsi, Coke is a threat. If you know the SWOT, business environment will give you a clear picture of SWOT analysis. These are the things, hope you all know. In the coming classes, I'll teach you more about all the other companies. We'll go with more comparison. So till then, thank you so much. For any of the doubts, you can message me, comment me on the YouTube, and I'll be there to reply all your answers. I'll see you when I see you.